Every year, on the 4th of July, America explodes in a symphony of red, white, and blue. Fireworks paint the night sky, parades wind through bustling streets, and the aroma of barbecue fills the air. It's a day for celebration, a day for national pride, a day to commemorate the birth of a nation. The 4th of July, for many Black Americans, was not a day of celebration, but a day of mourning. Frederick Douglass, in his famous speech, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" exposed the hypocrisy at the heart of America's celebration. The fight for Black independence was not separate from the American story. It was woven into its very essence. The 4th of July represents both the promise of America and the betrayal of its ideals. Systemic racism continues to permeate American society, manifesting in disparities in education, healthcare, housing, and criminal justice. The Black Lives Matter movement is a testament to the enduring spirit of Black resistance. The 4th of July becomes an opportunity for reflection, to celebrate progress, and recommit to the ongoing fight for equality. The journey towards Black independence is a journey that America must undertake together. The year is 1776. The Founding Fathers, fueled by revolutionary fervor, are about to birth a nation. The Declaration of Independence boldly proclaims that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights. These words would become the bedrock of a nation, a beacon of hope. But as the ink dried on that momentous document, a stark reality cast a shadow over the newborn nation. While the Founding Fathers championed liberty and equality, they did so within a society deeply entrenched in slavery. African Americans were deemed property, their humanity stripped away to fuel the engine of a burgeoning nation. The paradox of freedom in a land built on enslaved labor was a contradiction not lost on those who suffered under its weight. The institution of slavery was woven into the very fabric of early America. The issue of slavery would continue to haunt the young nation, driving a wedge between North and South. Abolitionists condemned the institution as a moral abomination, a stain on the soul of America. The debate over slavery raged on, fueling tensions and pushing the nation closer to the brink of war. The question of whether a nation conceived in liberty could long endure half slave and half free hung heavy in the air. In the shadow of Independence Hall, Black Americans navigated a world rife with contradictions and dangers. For those bound in servitude, life was a relentless cycle of toil and oppression. Yet even in the face of such adversity, the spirit of Black Americans remained unbroken. They found strength in their communities, celebrating their heritage through music, dance, and storytelling. As the fight for independence raged on, so too did the whispers of freedom for Black Americans. Abolitionist societies challenged the morality of slavery and demanded its immediate end. Frederick Douglass became a powerful voice in the abolitionist movement, exposing the horrors of slavery. When the Civil War erupted, Black Americans saw an opportunity to fight for their freedom on the battlefield. The story of Black Americans in the era of the American Revolution is often relegated to the margins of history books. Their contributions, struggles, and unwavering pursuit of freedom are essential to understanding American history. It is a collective responsibility to unearth these stories and ensure that Black history is recognized as an integral part of the American story. By acknowledging the struggles and triumphs of Black Americans, we gain a more nuanced and complete understanding of the nation's past. Figures like Frederick Douglass emerged as beacons of hope, their voices ringing out against the tyranny of slavery. Douglass's escape from slavery was a testament to his courage and ingenuity. Harriet Tubman, a conductor on the Underground Railroad, risked her life repeatedly to guide others to freedom. Sojourner Truth challenged the very definition of womanhood in a society that sought to confine her to silence. Recognizing that knowledge was a potent weapon against oppression, Black communities waged a parallel battle for education. Secret schools, hidden from the prying eyes of slaveholders, sprung up wherever they could. The establishment of historically black colleges and universities marked a significant victory in the fight for educational justice. The fight for equitable education continues to this day, inspired by those early freedom fighters who dared to dream of a world where knowledge was a tool for liberation. The Church's Call. The Black Church emerged as a pillar of strength and resilience, a sanctuary from oppression. Within its halls, Black Americans found solace, community, and a platform for their hopes and frustrations. Sunday services were spaces for communal healing and strategizing for liberation. Preachers infused sermons with hope and resistance. They drew parallels between the Israelites' exodus and the plight of Black Americans. The church became a wellspring of social activism. The civil rights movement drew heavily on the Black church's organizing power. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. understood the power of faith to mobilize. Churches became meeting places for strategizing boycotts and planning marches. The church's commitment to social justice placed it at the forefront of the civil rights struggle. Today, the Black church remains a vital force in the fight for social justice. Section 4. Legacies of Resistance, Seeds of Change. The fight for Black independence, spanning centuries and countless acts of courage, has profoundly shaped the fabric of America. From the early whispers of dissent on plantations to the thunderous roar of the civil rights movement, Black Americans have consistently challenged the nation to live up to its ideals. Their struggles and triumphs have chipped away at the walls of injustice, paving the way for a more equitable future. The legacies of resistance passed down through generations serve as a constant source of inspiration. The courage of those who risked their lives on the Underground Railroad, the eloquence of those who dared to speak truth to power, the unwavering faith of those who found strength in community and prayer. These stories remind us that the fight for justice is a relay race, each generation called to carry the baton forward. The fight for Black independence is not an isolated struggle, but rather an integral part of the broader fight for human rights. It is a reminder that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and that true freedom can only be achieved when all are free. As we reflect on the journey towards Black independence, we are reminded that the pursuit of liberty and equality is an ongoing process, a constant striving to create a society where all can live with dignity and opportunity. The echoes of promises made, yet unfulfilled, reverberate through the streets of Black America. The Emancipation Proclamation, a beacon of hope in 1863, declared an end to slavery, yet the chains of oppression morphed and tightened, taking on new forms in the decades that followed. Jim Crow laws enacted in the South erected a system of segregation that permeated every aspect of life, relegating Black citizens to second-class status. Separate and unequal became the law of the land, from schools and hospitals to water fountains and restrooms. The right to vote, hard-won but easily lost, was suppressed through poll taxes, literacy tests, and outright intimidation. The promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness remained tantalizingly out of reach for many, a cruel mirage in a desert of inequality. Economic opportunities remained limited, with Black families disproportionately relegated to low-wage jobs and denied access to decent housing and quality education. The cycle of poverty, fueled by systemic racism, trapped generations in its grip, making the American dream feel like an impossible aspiration. The fight for Black independence continued, but the battlefield had shifted. It was no longer a fight for physical emancipation, but a fight for social, economic, and political equality. A fight to dismantle the insidious structures of racism that permeated every facet of American society. The civil rights movement of the 20th century brought about significant legal victories, dismantling the legal framework of segregation and securing the right to vote. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were landmark achievements, hard-fought triumphs over centuries of oppression. Yet the passage of laws did not magically erase the deeply ingrained prejudices and systemic inequalities that continued to plague Black America. Discrimination persisted, albeit in more subtle and insidious forms. Housing segregation continued, limiting access to quality education and economic opportunities. Mass incarceration, fueled by the war on drugs, decimated Black communities, trapping a generation in a cycle of poverty and imprisonment. The fight for Black independence had entered a new phase, one where the enemy was less visible, more deeply entrenched in the institutions and systems that governed everyday life. It was a fight against implicit bias, against the subtle ways in which racism infected healthcare, education, criminal justice, and every other facet of American society. The killings of unarmed Black men and women by law enforcement, captured on smartphones and shared across social media, ignited a new wave of activism. The Black Lives Matter movement, born out of pain and outrage, demanded accountability, justice, and an end to the systemic racism that permeated every level of law enforcement. The fight for Black independence is an ongoing journey, a continuous struggle against the forces of racism and oppression. It is a journey that requires constant vigilance, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and an unwavering commitment to dismantling systems of inequality. But amidst the pain and frustration, there is also hope. A new generation, more diverse and interconnected than ever before, is rising up, demanding justice and equality. They are harnessing the power of technology, organizing online and offline, and using their voices to amplify the stories that have been silenced for far too long. There is a growing awareness of the insidious nature of systemic racism, a recognition that the fight for Black liberation is not just a fight for Black people, but a fight for the soul of America. It is a fight to create a society where all people, regardless of race, can live with dignity, opportunity, and freedom. The journey towards true Black independence is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires a collective effort, a willingness to listen, to learn, and to act. It is a journey that demands empathy, courage, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of a more just and equitable future for all. As fireworks illuminate the night sky on the 4th of July, painting vibrant hues of red, white, and blue, let us remember that the pursuit of liberty and justice for all is an ongoing journey. The 4th of July, a symbol of independence, should remind us of the struggles endured and freedoms yet to be fully realized. For Black Americans, it's a complex tapestry of triumph and resilience. Celebrate the spirit that challenges injustice and strives for a nation embodying its founding ideals. Honor the sacrifices and victories in the struggle for Black liberation. Reflect on the unfulfilled promise of America. The 4th of July should ignite a call to action to dismantle systemic racism. Use our voices, actions, and votes to create a future of liberty and equality for all. The story of Black America is a symphony, rich in melody and rhythm, yet marked by moments of dissonance and struggle. It's a symphony that speaks of resilience, of creativity born from adversity, of hope triumphing over despair. It's a symphony that continues to evolve, its notes echoing the ongoing fight for equality and justice. Just as a symphony is incomplete without the harmonious interplay of all its instruments, so too is the American story incomplete without the full recognition and celebration of Black history and culture. The contributions of Black Americans, from the fields of science and medicine to the arts and entertainment, have enriched the tapestry of American life in countless ways. Yet the symphony remains unfinished. The legacies of slavery and segregation continue to cast a long shadow, manifesting in systemic inequalities that limit opportunities and stifle potential. The fight for Black independence is a fight to ensure that every voice is heard, that every talent is nurtured, and that every individual has the chance to reach their full potential. It's a fight to create a future where the symphony of Black America is played in its entirety, its melodies soaring, its rhythms pulsating, its harmonies resonating with the full richness and complexity of the Black experience. The fight for Black independence is a torch passed down through generations, a flame that must be kept alive. It's a fight that requires courage, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the power of collective action to create a more just and equitable world. As we celebrate the 4th of July, let us remember that true freedom is not a spectator sport. It requires each of us to be engaged, to be informed, and to use our voices and actions to challenge injustice wherever we see it. Whether it's speaking out against racism, supporting organizations that are fighting for equality, or simply educating ourselves and others about the ongoing struggle for Black liberation, we all have a role to play. Let us honor the legacy of those who came before us, those who fought tirelessly for the freedoms we enjoy today by continuing their work. Let us teach our children about the struggles and triumphs of Black history, instilling in them a sense of responsibility to create a better future for all. The fight for Black independence is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges, but we must never give up hope. Let us keep the flame of justice burning brightly, working together to create a world where all people are treated with dignity, respect, and equality. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive videos.